Hello and welcome to episode 100, the 100th episode. How exciting. Woo! That's about, I don't have any like little kazoo sounds or burr, burr, burr. That's you get the Blue's Clues trumpets. Oh, good lord. But, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Doing pretty good. It's been a nice week. I actually took a couple days off, and this will tie into the topic at hand. I was kind of mulling over some different topics, and I was like, you know what, we'll go with this because it is recent and all sorts of fun. And you'll be able to see it by the pictures because I actually took a couple days off. I went down and went and saw Mothman, the Mothman Museum and stuff. Didn't see Mothman personally. Saw a statue with a shiny butt, but no Mothman experiences for me. But yeah, I went down there and was there for a little bit and whatnot, and it was enjoyable. I took a couple days off work because, quite frankly, I needed it. And I have another couple the week after Thanksgiving, so it'll be nice. I've been trying to get into the habit of, I certainly can say it, but then I don't necessarily follow through with it, but to get into a better habit of using my days off, because I have I think I have like close to, well, not after this week, but since I used a little bit of it, but I had close to 120 hours with flex and, oh dear heavens, are we seriously doing this? But I have about 120 hours of like flex and vacation time that I need to start using and not just squirreling away like nuts for winter. So yeah, so it's kind of like so I try to be in a better habit of maybe taking like a couple days off here and there. It will also help if this winter work is a little bit easier, because I started doing what I'm doing a year and a half ago, and last winter I was told, oh yeah, it'll be really slow, it's usually not that bad or anything, but it was actually rather a lot. So yeah, we are hopefully I prefer it to be consistent and not really light, but if it's really light, I'll be fine with that. And if it's heavier, that means I can use those days for time off for days down the road. So, but yeah, that is that. I have not really done much in the sense of games. I honestly, I'm finally starting to get the itch to play the rest of Genealogy again, and part of it's because I have to record and everything, so there's the setup for that. But I didn't want to begrudgingly do it, I guess, because this is something I do more for just like a hobby and all that sort of thing. So if I'm not having fun with it, and it's not necessarily that I wouldn't be having fun with it, but I'll get into why here in a moment. But I was kind of just like, I don't really want to play it right now. I want to do some other things. So, but I'm getting the urge to herbal, and we'll do that here soon for playing through it and recording and whatnot. So I'm hoping I'll have it all done and everything, and a video up for it no later than early December. I'll say that, early December. Let me take a peek at Steam. Have I really played much of anything? Boom, 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 boom. No, I have not. The only thing I have played this week is Pico Park 2. I have not done much of anything since it is because I don't even think where's GOG. I haven't even really played anything on GOG either. I have not. I'm still kind of getting that sort of crustiness for playing, and it's just been like, I think part of it's just from being burned out from work. So I was like, let's just kind of not do anything for a moment, and so I I haven't even played any sort of handheld or anything. That's it. It has been Pico Park 2, and I will say this: if you play with other people, please be patient, because either you're gonna make mistakes, or they're gonna make mistakes, or you're all gonna make mistakes. And it's a good way to try to test to see how patient people are with others when it comes to playing games. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people who aren't. So, and truth be told, I'm probably the one that's got the least amount of patience amongst them all, because I played with Slade and B. Clark there, and I'm probably the one that's the most looniest of the three. But so there's that. The thing that has been detering me from really playing and finishing up genealogy and stuff has been getting back into the groove with writing. So I'm very happy that I'm knocking off the crusties and getting into that. And like I said, have it in my head. I want to try to hit 200 by the end of the year, 200 pages handwritten. So, I already have a good sense of what's going on, and not I'm one of those. I like to plot out. Not like, I think I've mentioned it before. I like to make lamp posts, so you can follow the guiding light and be like, oh, and if you decide to kind of steer from that, well, at least I have something to guide me to be able to figure it out. So, I have a good sense of what's to come, so that keeps it from being too daunting, I should say. But it's more of, now it's okay, you've got it in your head, you've now got to materialize it on the paper and all that sort of stuff. So and it is to try to keep in line with my goal as well. I think, if I write X amount of pages per day, I'll be able to reach that. So tackling it at that approach, not necessarily saying, I've reached 4 pages or something, 3 pages or whatever. It's less that and more of okay, let's get a chunk in, and let's go for a bit. Set a timer for an hour and 15 minutes, and do writing, and then depending on how I feel after that, if it's the ball still rolling, good. If not, well, you've still got an hour and 15 minutes of writing. So that's the approach I'm taking at the moment. See how that works, because it is a very different beast. A, because it's a continuation. B, I was being brutally honest, I have received absolutely no feedback from anybody on what they felt about part 1, outside of somebody really didn't care for it, but then they read Sudraba and they really enjoyed Sudraba. And I thought it was funny because they read through Sudraba and they're like, yeah, the first page, I hate the first page, but everything else after that was enjoyable. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I mean, if you thought it was enjoyable, glad you enjoyed it. But And so I guess what I'm saying is that it's kind of, I guess, for lack of, how do I want to put this? Not that not that it would like rock my foundations or not, or make me just like give up or something, but it's more of just figuring out what other people think of it, and just going, okay, all right, and then be like, oh, you might want to think about this or something, and it's like I'm getting radio silence, so it's like, okay, I guess just cut through ahead and just hopefully it works out. So but yeah, so I got that. I don't know if there's really much else that's been going on. I got to see my one friend that I'm hoping to do a podcast episode with him. I need to touch base with him to try to figure out something for it, because we started to and then kind of got sidetracked by life and all that sort of fun jazz. So try it again to hammer out details to figure out something. So yeah, I think that is about it. That's about all I got. So yeah, so let's get into the topic. The topic is about sparking that fire for the absolute silly things. So pretty long time ago at this point, and I should have had this up, but I did not, because I decided to make this topic go with this topic at the last minute. So a while back I did an episode about conspiracy theories, and truth be told, I do not remember what the top title of that one is. Oh, I'm dying. Gracious. Because I find conspiracy theories to be I used to find them very interesting, because it was a way for me to try to be like, let me try to figure out why people are thinking the way they're thinking. It's just I don't know. It's just to me it's interesting, because it's, how do you get from, how do you get to flat Earth, or just some of the loop-de-loop loony stuff out there. And I guess for myself it was sort of an intellectual not challenge, but just the exercise, that's the word I want, to try to figure out and be like, okay, why would somebody, or how would somebody come to, back on episode 33, the 33rd episode, that's when I talked about it. Gracious, this was over 2 years ago. Good Lord. Alright, so yeah, episode 33, the 33rd episode, I talk about aliens and stuff. So you get, you get just different sort of information that people provide, and you're like, okay. Like, certainly there's some things, especially back in the early days of internet proliferation, where there's everything's filmed on potatoes, so it gives it this sort of mystic quality to it, and I think you see this especially a lot of the old folk tales and stuff, especially when a lot of more Europeans were settling in the Americas and stuff. They bringing over their own, but then having some differences in some ways, because you get if I remember correctly, if I remember my how the continents and land masses form, a lot of the geological structuring of the East Coast of America and the of Canada and North America and stuff is very similar to a lot of stuff in like Britain and France and whatnot, in Spain. So there's a familiarity yet uniqueness and difference, and so you have that. They're there for a while, then for whatever reason, we kind of got bored with ourselves, and then in the mid '90s, not mid '90s. How about the mid 1950s? That's what I wanted to say. We started to see a lot more of this. You get the whole Roswell thing, and shortly before that, and you got all the lights and the UFOs, the UFOs, and then you get the you're getting like all the different like sci-fi writers who are writing things, and I think you're having this interesting meld of people who I think the simple leap of logic to make is, if you don't understand trying to travel into space or the other celestial bodies out there, you would consider that, oh yeah, that makes sense. There's people living on those. Well, there's people living on these. So, like, why not? Why wouldn't there be? But you got all this fun and kooky stuff going on, and they're in the, I think it was in the 50s. They're in central West Virginia. You get the Flatwoods, I think, the Flatwoods monster. A really creepy account of they say that they see this bright light, and then they say that they saw this giant, like, I think I would say it was like 10 foot tall, and by they I mean it was how many people? It was like 3 or 4 kids or something. And they're just, this is a creepiness, those giant, and they and there's nothing else to be said about it. But they've taken that and ran with it, so they've got their own little Flatwoods Monster Museum, which I'd like to go to. That would be kind of neat. And I wasn't aware of this because I'm not a Fallout fan, but I guess Fallout 76 has it, as well as some Mothman stuff, and I saw that, which kind of worked out for me because I was able to get some nice little merchandise for my brothers. I think both of them. I know at least one of them enjoys Fallout. He's probably more the Fallout New Vegas fan than anything else, but he liked at least that one, so something along those lines, he'd be fine with it. And I think the other one, if not, well, sorry. You better like it now. But oh, excuse me. Let me stop. Time in. Okay. But I thought like it was neat because I took the time to go and go down to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and that is where Mothman was spotted. And I always find it funny because I guess I would have been a teenager at the time, the Mothman Prophecies film came out, and it had Richard Gere in it, and it's Deborah Messing, I think that's who was also in it, and a few other people, and I haven't seen the movie since it came out. So it's been a while, but it always kind of stuck with me. It was kind of a creepy account. So it's, the account is that they, there's these couples that end up seeing something, and it spooked them, and they started trying to drive away because they had seen it at a site of like a former World War II munitions plant, which already kind of has some like creepiness to it, right? It just kind of like, and you add to that, this is going on in the mid 60s, so you have going to this sort of probably decrepit, World War II munitions site. So there's a little bit of, so something about me. There used to be a Nestle plant, a few blocks down from where I lived as a child, as a wee lad, and I used to sneak into that thing. They had closed it down and everything, but it was creepy. Like it was pretty creepy. Like it was, like you could go in broad daylight and it would still have this unnerving, just something about it. There's something about a place where people used to reside and then no longer, or exist in and no longer do. It's just spooky. But so they see this thing, and then other people report seeing certain things for a little bit, but most people that push back against it being some sort of crazy creature think it was just like a sandhill crane or a heron of some sort. And I could see it. It's kind of similar. But does that take away from it possibly being this creepy thing? Yes, it would. Because it would be kind of embarrassing to be like, oh yeah, we got scared and fled the area, and it was because it was a bird and we didn't recognize it. Because, like I said, it's happening in the mid-'60s, and you have these two couples going to a less than popular place, let's say. So obviously, something more than just scenic view is going on, right? So I imagine they're like, oh yes, there's some crazy story, and so but it is just the nature of maybe the quote unquote possibility of the spookiness there, that because it's something I feel like is really, it had died down for a while, and then there was a quick little spark of it with things like the back rooms, and trying to, I think, reinstill some sort of mystical unknown, even though there is plenty we don't know. I think we've unfortunately developed a habit of thinking we know a lot more than we do, simply because of the proliferation of the internet, and you're able to just read a whole bunch of stuff, and it's not quite the same. Sometimes there's something beyond, right? Ooh. But yeah, it's only a few hours from me, more like a couple. So I was like, I'm gonna go down there, and so I went down there, and it was neat to see. There's a little Mothman museum, and it's not like super massive or anything, because like I said, it has like there's not a whole bunch, but I guess the big thing about this is that John Keel, he wrote a book about a decade later called The Mothman Prophecies, and that is it popularized the whole spiel with Mothman, and then it also conveniently tied in with the collapse of the Silver Bridge that ended up, I think, about 50 people ended up dying at that event. It was not a good time, and the book claims that there were sightings and stuff, and that Mothman was either warning or what have you. Ooh. But it's more of like, there's this, I don't remember what they call it, but there's that psychological effect of like when somebody says they see something, and then everybody else starts to say, oh yeah, I totally saw this kind of thing, because you have that, and then Mothman's disappeared since. He's gone bye-bye. There's certainly some claims that that Mothman was seen in Chicago at some point, or I think in Russia at another point, and it's it's been almost 60 years, Mothman. Reveal yourself, show us, tell us your secrets. It's kind of similar with like Bigfoot and all that sort of stuff. There's always the cryptid thing. It's always kind of sure. There's the excitement of the exploration and finding the novelty of finding something new. I think is it is a good, to me, I think it's a good energy to keep alive. However, it's when you go a little too far, when you get into really super silly seasons, that it's kind of like, we might need to rein this in a little bit. I think though with Mothman, it's contained enough that it's not like crazy, for lack of a better way to say it. It serves as a nice little thing for, we've got this Mothman museum. Look at this. We've got some of the props and stuff from the movie. We've got these different accounts and stuff. So there's like that neat historical aspect, even though it's something that's quote unquote only 60 years old. But I mean that's a lot of time. So you can see these different things. You got the handwritten accounts and stuff of what some people experienced, and which is pretty neat to see. It was also really neat to see because it's written in cursive, and then they have the printed up above. And I was with a roommate who's he came along with, and he was. He's much younger, and he couldn't read it. I found that very fascinating, because I tend to forget that a lot of younger people don't know how to read cursive, and it's not every young individual or whatnot, but there's a lot of them who don't know how to read it, and I find that really peculiar. It almost makes you think of how even just kanji for stuff written 100 some odd years ago, well, at this point more like 150 ish years ago, for like school documents and whatnot, where like students wouldn't be able to read that. They'd be like, this is a mess, at least maybe for a minute, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I know how to read that, and you're like, oh, okay. At least some idiots like myself, it was difficult to read things like that. But yeah, now you got the museum, you got little gift shops and stuff, and I get it. It can come off as hokey, but I think there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of hokiness, having a little bit of I wouldn't necessarily say pride so much as having just a little bit of fun with something. You gotta make it. What's that about all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. I'm trying to think of there's a quote that I've used before. There it is, from Horace. Mix a little foolishness with your serious plans. It is lovely to be silly at the right moment. And yeah, I think being a little having a little joy in that sort of thing is fine. A little bit of fun, because there's a festival that goes on, and it happens in September. I think is when that takes place. So it's like, oh, like I want to go to that. Like I want to see how people react with that. They have speakers, vendor exhibits, pancake eating contests, hayride tours of locally notable areas. It just seems like a good way to take something that probably somebody saw something that was just a bird and didn't recognize it, and it scared them, and they're like, taking some sort of event and turning it into this is how traditions Silly traditions. We just have a little bit of fun with it. Plus, there's a giant, like, 12-foot tall statue there. It's like all sorts of just weird because they're like, oh, look at the shiny butt. Bunch of goofballs. But yeah, third weekend of every September, there's the Mothman Festival. It's been going on for 22 years or so. But it was nice. It was nice to see it. Nice to go there and just kind of, chit chat and a little bit with some of the people that were down there that, like, work and live down there. Not like anything super serious or like, did you see Mothman? Like, it's more of just, I don't know. I think it would do people good to do that, to go and check out some of those goofy little things and stuff. And sometimes, of course, I understand it. Like, there's more of a somber attitude, especially because there is that aspect that ties in with the Silver Bridge collapse. Because if you're trying to pinch them together, there's about a year from when this first reporting sightings till the bridge collapse, from like 66 to 67. And so the bridge collapsing is an unfortunate event because of the people passing away and being in late November, early December. It was like a couple weeks before Christmas. I remember that because it wasn't terribly long before Christmas, so yeah, it was you have that, so there's that aspect, and that's always unfortunate, but the and it's wild to think about too, because you get the reports from it, and they say the collapse was due to an eye-bar failure, which was triggered by a flaw of just like 0.1 inches deep, which led to a fracture. And yeah, like just something like that small little bit. It is a bit wild to consider, but yeah, so it is. It is something. Like I said, I do want to go back down there and see that festival. And I'd like to go to the Flatwoods one as well, because that's probably about an hour and a half away from there, in like deep in the heart of West Virginia. But that one is a little like, I think with that one they said it was they suspect it might have been like an owl or something, and barn owls can look pretty creepy if you've not seen them, but that one's kind of a spooky story and whatnot. But I don't know. Like I said, it was nice to go, and it's kind of, I felt like a kid in the candy store. It was nice because I could find some random little gifts and stuff for family and whatnot, and pass them along. I didn't notice it at first. Got a new lanyard, and it's got the different drawings of a Mothman, and one of them's got the awoo face. And I was like, I think that's what they call it, the little smile squiggle kind of thing. The colon number 3. I could be wrong. My face lingo is not up to snuff after many years of not lurking around. But No, it's nice, and I think if you have those sorts of things, it creates this little support system for a community that outside of that, it doesn't seem like there's really much going on, right? It's just a kind of typical ho-hum affair, and I imagine that Fallout 76 helped kind of pick it back up a little bit too, because I guess there was some stuff with that, because I got a little poster thing from my brother that's got that with like the Mothman Museum and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't aware of that, because I'm not really a Fallout fan, but I don't know, it was nice to see, and it sparked that little bit of wanting to do those short little adventures that I haven't had as much of an opportunity to do in the last while. Or I guess I was able to do it to some degree, but it was a very constricted, and now it's kind of expanded a bit, especially with work, because I drive so much for work. The 2-hour drive was not that much of a trouble for me, so I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty straightforward. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And then even coming back, it felt quicker. I was like, okay, this is not a problem at all. So that is so really nice to be so built up on, because it used to be like with driving, it'd be like, I don't want to do like a half an hour drive, that seems forever, and it's really actually pretty short. I don't know, that's probably not the same mindset for a lot of other people, but I don't know, it just feels like it takes a long time. Blah. My phone keeps doing that. I mean, it was only twice in this whole recording, so I guess that isn't terrible, but it seems to be that it doesn't matter whenever I record. I could record at like 2 in the morning, and I'll get some sort of ridiculous text or some sort of update telling me about the weather or some nonsense. But goodness gracious. So that is what I got for is today. I don't know, I just wanted to kind of talk about that, going to the museum, all the neat stuff. There's pictures, be all throughout this video. It's nice. It sparked a little bit of a flame for that sort of thing, and I think it serves well to. And I know I'm bad about this, but to have that constant grind, focus, and then you sometimes just distract yourself. But I think even in the distraction, if you're not having fun in the distraction, I think it worsens things. And you gotta have a little bit of silliness, a little bit of fun in that. So, nice way to refresh the soul, so to say. That is what I have for ya today. So, thanks for listening, watching, whatever. And here is to 100 episodes. Isn't that something? I never thought I would get to 100 with this, especially when you kind of take a couple year break. But woo! So, I guess I should add. I didn't do it in the intro, but still looking and mulling over what to do for doing like streams and the like. I just am trying to hit. In one hand, I think I'm probably going to be pushing it towards the beginning of next year, just because of with holidays and stuff. That makes it a bit of a mess to try to figure out, especially when you got like I've got the tabletop stuff going on and all that kind of fun. So it's trying to consider that one and all these other things, and so it might be something that starts to pick up in a couple months, especially since I'm wanting to get the Genealogy of the Holy War video finished, plus getting up to 200 pages on writing and stuff. So I would like to just keep focused on that. That is that. So thank you. Enjoy your day, weekday, weeknight, weekend, and everything in between. The outro tune, I don't exactly remember what it's from, but I know I have it from the alternative saga, the East vs. Sora no... I don't know why I'm saying it like that. East vs. Sora no Kiseki. Disc 2. It's Yururito. And that is, if I remember, it's kind of like loosely, or slowly. I think it's slowly. Slowly sounds right. I'm gonna go with kind of like slowly. It's I don't know what it's to, but I really like this song. It just even just from the start of it, it's like yeah, you'll hear it in just a moment. That's what I got for you. Enjoy it, day, night, everything. I'll catch you next week. So yeah, toodles.